period of time that I've lived in the city, the amount of R35 GTRs I've seen is absolutely insane. There's so many of them. Look, even on my typical morning Starbucks runs, I can't avoid them. This thing's actually pretty nice too. I like the APR wing, and it's got some really nice Advan wheels on there. Meister shaft too. Shout out to the owner. This is a really nice build. Off to go do some errands in the yard. So I came home, got some paperwork from the bank that I needed to update for my PayPal account. Now we're gonna head over to 5150, get you guys a really exciting update on Ronnie's Evo build. It's almost done. When you're in a super big rush and you have no gas like usual, if you guys noticed, I didn't have to shove my shoe in the freaking lever to get my gas cap open. Finally got that spring. Shout out Amir at Auto Gallery Mitsubishi for hooking it up with that thing. I'm so glad to finally have that. This car is slowly not going to be as janky as it once was. Alright, we just got to the shop. I'm going to try to find Ronnie. Look at all these cars, dude. Every time I come here, it's like dream garage. Here it is. Almost ready. Look at all these freshly powder coated parts. Looks super sick. And it's got that ceramic coated big old Magnus intake. But it's been a minute since we've been with Ronnie. He's made some changes to the car. The car has a heart now, finally.
Like, you know, I was telling you guys before, shelf CP pistons, 86mm bore, OEM crank, the billet I-beams that I had from R&R, which are discontinued, and these use the DSM bearings, which are a little bit wider, for more load capacity. It's an unported head, KFOR 280s, Farah dual valve springs, one over valves, intake and exhaust valves. That's pretty much it. And then CDI, the SparkTech CDI box that I was telling you guys about.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, man.
Magnus V5 intake manifold. It's a 5-liter plenum. 74mm throttle body from S90 that I actually had to port the adapter plate that comes with the Magnus intake manifold to match the throttle body. So stock is 60, so you know it's 14mm bigger. I could have gone with like a okay, I forgot the name. They sell a 90mm one that you can slap onto this, but you know, this should do for now. Keeping my same catch can setup. I just have it powder coated. They're -10 AN fittings, AN lines that go to the catch can. I don't have any baffles in the valve cover, so that's one of the reasons why I was comfortable with sending this to powder coating, because there are no baffles. And mind you, I had to pressure wash this like 7 times. I abused the shit out of David's pressure washer because you just can't get rid of the sand, man. I mean, there's so much shit in this thing that I washed it. It took me like 4 hours to wash all the crap out of the valve cover. So be careful if you guys are trying to powder coat valve covers. You know, all the hot parts are ceramic coated, stainless steel nuts and bolts for the exhaust manifold. Turbo was rebuilt by Pure Turbos, cleaned out just because I didn't want anything to, you know, still be in it. 64mm with the 0.2 AR, a 0.82 AR. It's a V-band kit. It's a VWR kit. Let's see what else. Stock transmission that has God knows how many miles. I got it off this guy. Apparently it grinds 3rd gear, but yeah, I don't know. You know, it's a stock final drive. I kind of ran out of funds. I couldn't really do anything with the trans, and I didn't want to put back the. Remember I was telling you I had a faceplated trans?
Yeah.
That I just sold a gear set to some guy in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. CSF radiator, which comes with a slim fan. This thing's pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, this thing's badass.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys are wondering too, CSF brought their car 250 150. Their crazy SEMA built car that Ronnie got to see shoot flames.
They make really good products. I mean, a lot of people use their cores for intercoolers. You know, a lot of different things. The radiators are great. This is actually sort of like a slim rad. It's not, you know, it's not like a super slim rad, but it's semi-slim. I mean, it clears my turbo. And then this radiator actually comes with a spout fan. It's a slim fan that goes here, so it's an all-in-one kit. It's very neat actually, and it comes with adapters, so you can either do the AN fitting, and you can have an AN basically water neck, that, you know, different companies sell that, or you can actually weld it onto there, or you can just screw on like a regular hose head like that. Quartermaster 8 leg. What I do now is throw on my 2 gauges, which is going to be the ethanol content analyzer. So we can do that, actually the flex fuel thing, so I can run pump E and I can run the Ignite E90 that I have at home.
That's
which I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It smells pretty good, bro.
That's crazy.
It smells like, almost smells like C16. I don't know what they cut it with, but it smells like race gas. It is race gas, technically.
Yeah.
And then also an oil pressure gauge and an oil temperature gauge that I have. I'm just waiting for I just gotta go get the fitting from down the street. That's pretty much it. I put the intake manifold fittings on. I mean, I can get everything else on tonight, pretty much.
It's crazy.
You know, throw the transfer case in and just want to freaking start this thing, man.
I'm sure the internet's wondering, how long do you think till it's tuned? That's the real question.
If I could like stop doing everything else right now,
Yeah.
and work on this, I would have this running by tonight.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
fast.
fast.
I mean, there's nothing left. It's literally, I mean, every major thing's on there. What takes a long time is assembling everything outside of the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the oil pump. Like I wish we could do videos on this, and like, you know, you were telling me, but like the thing is, like sometimes like I have some free time and I just like, you know.
No, I know you're working in between a million other projects in the shop, so.
Like I wish we could do a balance shaft eliminate the video of the balance shaft. I put the Mirage stubby shaft in it.
Right.
And like how you properly, you know, put that plastic plug in there.
Yeah.
You know, just like an overview of how to do it, how to, you know, how to basically torque the bolt, like how, you know, just stuff like that we do, like done videos. Timing is very simple. Pairing 3.5 inch intercooler. Again, ran out of funds. It has cast end tanks though, so I mean it's kind of cool.
And your flex fuel system, you're running with the stock ECU, correct?
Yeah.
I know that's kind of rare. Like that hasn't been around for the longest.
Not for like the Fitronics has a kit that some tuners use for this platform, the CT98.
Right.
Not very common. And you don't necessarily have to, like there's a bunch of people doing dual maps, but with, you know, power levels that, you know, when you're like trying to throw like anything more than like 35 pounds of boost at it, I would say like it's better to do that just because, you know, you want to make sure it's consistent.
Yeah. Because,
you know, it won't make a difference if you get E70 and you're tuned on E80 or whatever, you know, and you're running big power. That's why my head cracked.
Oh, because
I was showing you?
Yeah, because it got hot.
It got pretty lean.
Yeah.
At one point, you know. Yeah, but the reason I'm doing that is not necessarily to. I'm not. It's just like a, you know, cushion. The car is most likely always going to be on E90. Honestly, I mean,
right.
It's just. I'm probably going to buy more. You know?
Yeah,
it's not a daily driven car.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, it's like $390 per barrel. It's like $6-7 a gallon.
Yeah.
Which it's still cheaper than like if you were to buy VP, you know, like it's like $50 for a 5-gallon jump. So.
Yeah, totally.
But you know, I don't want to give an exact number because, you know, it all depends on the day and like how the car reacts to it and all that. But I want to push it as much as I can. But the only issue is gonna be the 0.82 AR on this turbo. I want to say it's going to start choking at like 47 pounds or something like that. It's not going to make any more power. You can throw 55 pounds, 60 pounds at it. I'm just saying, you could. Well, actually, no, the head would lift at that point because I don't have 12mm studs. If I went to 1/2-inch head studs, which I wanted to do, again, like everything else, I kind of like ran out of funds and like it was taking a long time. My machinist's like, nah, don't do it. It's like, let's try this first. I'm like, bro, that doesn't work that way. It's not, you can't just like try it and okay, yeah, it lifted. Let's do this now. Like I can't, you know what I mean? Like I can't just go there and have him drill it. It's not, you know, the whole thing has to come out.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would say like the limit's probably going to be like 50, 52 pounds on any, like this turbo.
That's so much power.
But
That's
no,
crazy.
I'm not even going to do that because, you know, if you go somewhere else, you know, there's like altitude change, you know, air gets a little denser or whatever, you know, you might have like 1 or 2 psi of boost creep, and, you know, if you're pushing the car, and now instead of 52, it's like 53, 54 pounds, your fuel system will, you know, may be capable of handling that, but it's probably gonna lift the head. But stock final drive, 64mm turbo. Stock final drive, man, that thing will. That'll be stupid. That'll be pretty stupid. That's the way to describe it.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything yet, so I'm just fingers crossed. Hopefully, you know, everything goes smoothly. I also got the ETS intercooler pipe for this. Just so you guys know, the Magnus intake manifold sits about like 6 inches lower. Because then the stock intake manifold, like the throttle body, would be sitting like right here.
Yeah.
This sits lower, and it takes advantage of the. It's like a 10-degree entry to the port.
Oh,
instead of it being like this and the runner having to curve. So this is a straight shot. It's a badass intake manifold, but this thing's gonna, like, it wasn't the most responsive setup to begin with. It's because it's a gigantic turbo on a 2-liter. But now it's gonna be even worse because of that and the throttle body. Guy box. So there's a box that I think I can mount onto here. I'm not sure. I have to look at it and see exactly where it goes. Like I said, I can figure all this out if I have a few hours. The thing is, like, if I'm not working on it on a weekend and I'm working on it on a weekday, it's usually after hours. And by the time I start working on it, I'm already falling asleep, so I can't really think about it.
Right.
I'm surprised I actually mounted the oil cooler on because you have to assemble all those lines and stuff. So yesterday I knocked that out. I went home at 12 o'clock. And then as far as, you know, interior is still gonna be the same. I'm just gonna have 2 other gauges over here. I was gonna get the triple for over there, as I was saying in the other video. But I'm gonna have 1 hole empty, and I don't know what I'm gonna put in there. So I'm just like, okay, I have a gauge pod. Might as well put it to use. As far as oil goes, I used to use Brad pen all the time. And again, like, these guys aren't hooking me up or anything. This is like 17 bucks a quart or something. I'm using the HPL break-in and the 2050 that they have. So instead of the Brad pen, I made the switch over to this, and you know, it seemed I did some research. It seems like they have a lot of, you know, good additives in there. It's actually a synthetic break-in oil, and people will tell you don't run synthetic.
Yeah, I've heard that before too.
But synthetic just means man-made. It just means, you know, chemicals have been mixed with it. It doesn't mean that it's, you know, it's not good for break-in, because this is specifically for break-in. And I'm pretty sure these guys know what the fuck they're doing. It's a harness for my AEM 5-bar, because, you know, anything over 43 pounds of boost, the Omni 4-bar can't register. So this is good for 59 pounds or whatever. Yeah, another thing is I have to figure out how to route the throttle cable. I haven't even looked at it. It's probably gonna take me a few minutes to get that because it doesn't go in the stock location. And it's a different throttle body, so none of this. I'm gonna put a carbon fiber cam gear here. Using the stock gears. I have the AEM adjustable cam gears. It freaks me out, dude. I've seen them like loosen up and like just, you know, rotate like 5-6 degrees and bend all the valves. So I don't want to use it because all that is, honestly, is to play with the power band. So, you know, you can shift it to the left or right, you know, bring, you know, a little more, spool it up a little faster, or, you know, just move everything to the top end. But I don't really need to do that. The 280s are good where they are, so to speak. So, you know, I just don't like doing that with any cam, to be honest with you. I've never used them.
Guys, if you want any quotes for 5150, hit up this man. Stop DMing me. Hit up Corey. I'll post all the
information.
Yeah, he has all the info. I can't quote you guys. We got Christmas with Ronnie. Oh.
I want to turn it around, but it's gonna fucking drip everywhere because I have a sanding. You see how these are sanded? You see that, right?
Yeah.
Can they see it?
Yeah.
See how, like, the color is
Yeah,
all
you can see it.
The reason they do that is because this piston has sharp edges, and if you don't do that, it'll detonate. It'll be a hot spot. It's a very concentrated, pointy surface. Right, I did that on mine too. Okay, so back to the debate of, you know, breaking in a motor on the dyno, on the lift or whatever. When they machine motors now, any good machine shop that has high-end, like, you know, new equipment, they bore it out, okay, without a torque plate. With the final few thousandths, like the final 2, 3, 4 thousandths of an inch, they bolt the torque plate on and they hone it. And the last honing stone they use is called a plateau stone. So it's called plateau honing, and what it does is it'll take all the peaks and ridges of the final cylinder size. It'll take all the peaks and ridges and it'll actually knock them down. In the past, there was no plateau honing, so all those peaks and ridges would be in the cylinder, and the rings would actually have to do that. So that's why you would have to drive it around for like 1,000 miles. You wouldn't really push it. Now you don't have to do that because all that is knocked off. So all you literally need to do is seat the rings. And to seat the rings, all you do is you basically give a vacuum and you take vacuum away from it. So it's like a constant pressure on the rings, and you let go of it and it's pulling on the rings, it's pushing on the rings, it's pulling on the rings. The reason why you don't slap it on the dyno the first second you start it is because you want to get rid of whatever's inside from assembly. That's moly lube that you put on head studs, main studs, assembly lube. You want to get rid of all that crap. That's the only reason you do that, or else you can put it on the dyno. You can, if the engine's like absolutely clean and you know that there's nothing in there, you can absolutely put 2015 in, or whatever oil you're going to be using for depending on what kind of clearances you run. But that's why you don't have to break in motors anymore. If you granted you use good machine work. You got to make sure your machinist knows what they're doing. A lot of these guys that are using like older machine shops that aren't like necessarily cut up with technology and stuff. Our machine shops, they're always at PRI. They're all up to date. They know what they're doing, and that's why we were able to run like the clearances that we run. Like I was gonna run 3.5 thou piston to wall, but like I'm like I'll just do 4 thou in case I want to get stupid with it. You know what I mean? And 3.5. I mean, if you set that number to someone 10 years ago, dude, they would laugh at you because that's like. In the Evo community, that's like stupid tight. Wyseco recommends 4.5 piston to wall. Yeah. So, in theory, bypassing that rule, and I'm actually going with a tight clearance, and I'm throwing that much boost at it. But again, it's on the machine work. If you have good machine work. Okay. Also, I went 105 foot-pounds. ARP says 100 pounds. You can go up to 110. But 105 is the sweet spot. I've always done it. I've never had any issues with that. The only problem with that high of a torque is it crushes literally where like the stud goes on the cylinder head. There's a little recessed area that the washer sits on. It usually crushes that, and you can actually crack it. So that's why people go to 1/2-inch studs, because you don't have to apply as much torque, and it'll actually hold that thing in place.
So after Ronnie's done assembling this car and its tune and stuff, we're gonna do a 4B11 series at some point. I know you guys have been wanting that. And there's a lot more Evo 10 owners out there. So we're gonna do it very soon, which hopefully could get in depth, like the differences between building a 4G63 versus a 4B11 and...
Easier.
Easier.
4B11's, I think it's easier. This looks simpler, but that's easier.
Really?
Yeah. As far as assembly, you take the same amount of time for both. You still have the clearance bearings, you still have the gap rings. That doesn't make a difference. Yeah. Your timing and like all the other miscellaneous stuff, it's so much easier on the... I don't know. Maybe just because I've been working on a shitload of these lately. Yeah. So I'm more used to it than this.
But this is also contributed to, he was running 91, so bad gas.
Oh, okay.
So when you start getting the knock light, and you don't change your gas, or you don't listen to your check engine light flash, especially on the Evo 10s, you'll get what it's called like a one stage where it flashes kind of slow. That's basically telling you like, hey, let off. When it flashes really fast, like you're causing a lot of damage to the motor, so you should probably stop. What a lot of people do is they go straight into neutral, and what happens is you go lean, you'll see your AFR gauge just sit at the lean. Yeah. What you're doing is taking all the unwanted air in and not enough gas. What you should do is just let off the gas, but cruise it. Keep it in gear and just keep coasting. The engine, at least your tuner, should tune for that. We do it here at 5150. But that's contributed to just bad gas.
It's really bad, man.
That's horrible. That's really bad. So we're building his motor. Basically stock head. He was supposed to go with springs, cams, retainers, that kind of stuff, but not a lot of people have. It gets expensive. It gets really expensive. So we went with a stock head, brand new valves, one size over, but he's got stock springs, retainers. So he's not looking to do a whole lot of power, but the engine itself is capable of 700. He's got manly rods, manly pistons, and I think he's got King bearings. So the engine's good for, it's on stock sleeves, so it's good for, you know, 600-700 horsepower. It's not meant to do a whole lot of power, but
That's a lot of power.
you can definitely beat it, daily driver it and beat it and stuff like that, and not have to worry about it. But of course with that, you know, you have to worry about your gas and keeping up with the maintenance and stuff like that, and make sure that the engine lasts. Now if you're beating the living crap out of it every single day, we don't guarantee that it's going to last very long. But as a fun car that you can daily drive and mash it on the street, it's definitely a good build.
All right, so we came for lunch. Sushi spot. This is David too, the guy who was explaining about the 4B11 earlier. He's another tech at 5150. So either Ronnie or David is going to build your motor if ever you guys buy a build. So before I get wrapped up in filming something else or something, I just want to give a huge shout out to all you guys who have followed Ronnie's series and just kind of made it to this point in the build. If you're both new or a newcomer, or anyone who's watched it from when I went to his house, we ate pizza and we pulled his head off and took out the internals of the 4G and everything. He's pretty much ready to finish up the last steps of it, get it fired up, and then hopefully get it tuned within the next week or so, which is going to be insane. I'm really stoked for the dude. It's been an amazing experience getting to learn so much about 4Gs and share it all with you guys, and I really didn't know too much about the Evo 8 and 9 platform until working with Ronnie. And obviously we're going to do a lot more projects as well when you get into modding my car and adding things to and stuff, which is going to be a really good experience. So if you guys are ready to see some crazy Evo pulls, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and we're going to get some pulls for you guys very soon of Ronnie's insane build.
The exhaust, you're going to start with one, right? And you kind of want to like go even, because you're pushing down on the cam caps or pushing down on the valves. And you want to make sure that your motor is at top dead center. So with this one, you start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's when you're done. All right, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, it's done. And then we're going to move into the intake side. Because since you have the buckets, and then you have the valves and springs and everything pushing up, the cam kind of does this. So you want to make sure that you kind of follow it, don't tighten it first. Make sure you seat it right perfectly, and then you can start doing your torque sequence.
So now that David is done torquing all these down, he's going to show us how to install a brand new timing chain, which he says is fairly simple.
So yeah, you just want to make sure that everything, you're going to have two lines right here that are supposed to meet, and then you have two dowels where is, if you see on the chain, you have these colored links, these copper links.
Yeah.
That's where it meets. And this is pretty much like a foolproof. These have to match on the cams, and then you're going to have it down here on the sprocket. You have one small one down there. Once all these three match.
Oh yeah, the bronze, that's dope.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So right there, it meets. So now we're going to adjust the chain. Having some dyno. Okay. Those two are right there, those two are done. And we're just going to guide it down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then you see how down here that dot meets that colored link? Yeah. Right, and up here you have those two that meet.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of points that you got to look at when you're timing a 4B11. Is you're gonna have these two like these two slots on the cam gears. Those have to meet. And you're gonna have these two dots as well up here. Those have to be meeting with the colored link, and then the one down here on the crank. And pretty much after that, you're done. Just gotta take out the tensioner, make sure everything is in place. The guide, in order to help the chain go over the crank sprocket. And then as you can see, once the tensioner puts tension on the guide, then you double check everything, make sure everything's good. You make sure you torque these. I still got to put the two more bolts down here and that'll be 89 inch-pounds for these. And then that's pretty much how you time 4V11 motor.
CDI mounts to the...
Yeah, there's only one problem that's gonna hit. I'm probably gonna have to work around it. I don't wanna see also these brake lines.
Yeah.
It'll work, but I gotta bend it.
Ronnie's valve cover looks so good. I know this is probably the most non-important part to you guys or to Ronnie, but this thing looks so nice under the lighting. Remember the name, guys. It's going down. John is also tuning a car on the dyno right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm going deaf right now. So Ronnie got his car in the air. We pushed it from over here to here. He just put on the oil return. It's happening.
That's the oil pressure switch. That is the knock sensor. Make sure you torque this. If you don't, you're gonna have issues. This is a dipstick that I had to modify and literally bend to fit the Magnus intake manifold.
Yeah.
These are the fittings that basically Magnus. The intake manifold comes with fittings, but the Magnus intake manifold doesn't have it on there. So I installed these fittings so I can tap into my raw valve lines, you know, vacuum sources, my brake booster line, and also AEM 5-bar map sensor for all of the boost. And then over here we have the oil pressure gauge. Over here, what I have blocked off, I'm gonna put an adapter, and that's gonna get the oil temperature gauge. It's a 2-in-1 gauge. And these are my oil cooler lines. This is an MA Performance oil cooler kit. Like I said, when you lose an engine, you want to replace the oil cooler because there's contaminants in it. So.
So the radiator's got to come out before we can put the transfer case back in. Yes. Ronnie caught it early, thankfully.
Yeah, because the radiator is in the way of the turbo. And if you try to pry the motor forward, it basically tries to hit the radiator and squish it. So obviously we can't have that. Actual portion that water goes in there.
Yeah. CSF makes some good stuff, man. Look at the finish on this thing. This radiator is super baller.
Alright, if any ladies are watching, I suggest you stop watching right now because I'm about to get really on the track pit. I'm about to look like a hamster that has a third eye. Alright. Ready?
Yeah. Just finished installing the transfer case. We just got to do the little end part that's like 4 bolts. I had to use Ronnie's pry bar to create some space and I almost killed him.
Almost. Only 2 bolts that are a tiny bit challenging are the top 2 bolts, which are very simple to get to when you have everything else out of the way on an after, you know, full build car like this. No intake manifold bracket, no nothing.
One of the trans mounts just went on, making progress. Yeah, so Ronnie got his downpipe ceramic coated also. That's crazy, man.
Look at my big pipe. Zoom inside my big pipe. Alright, so when I take the drive shaft off, I'll always mark it to make sure it goes back the same way. That way, if there's any weights, as you can see, there's a weight here. Okay? So if I take it off and I flip at 180 and put it on, it might vibrate. This is balance. This is a precision piece. So always mark your shaft. So it would be dumb if I always talked about a torque ped and never had it to check my measurements. This is what it looks like. It's a billet chunk of aluminum cut for a 4G63, as you can see. This is good for up to 88mm bore, so even if you have a 2.4, you know, using a 4G64 block, this is what it looks like. It's heavy. Alright. So, you guys want to see my big black pipe? Here it is. It's so nice.
Is that for the external?
Yeah, this is the wastegate.
Yeah, external wastegate. Okay, I was like, why do you have just a big black pipe?
It's just a pipe I keep.
Yeah, I was one of those, and it's coated. It's a coated pipe, not just a black pipe. We saw Derek gap spark plugs. Now we're getting the Ronnie build edition of how to gap spark plugs.
Yeah, I mean the way Derek did it was great too. It works, you know. I like to use a set of feeler gauges like everybody else does. The spark plug gapping tool. Okay, so I think actually Derek showed this. I think.
Yeah.
But basically, what you do is you can basically out the gap. You can basically increase the gap, or you can literally push this down and you can decrease the gap.
Yes.
And then you play with it until you get the desired gap, pretty much. So right now for braking, I'm gonna set it to like 23, 24 thou, because it's not gonna be under any load. It's not gonna make a difference. I mean, I can go on this coil on plug setup. I can do like 40 thou. Nothing's gonna happen at braking. It's not gonna make a difference. I just want it to be a clean burn. I don't want to wash down the cylinder. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get again 1-step holder iridiums instead of these. These are just copper. These are like $2 a piece. You know, VR8ES. And those we're probably gonna have to gap to like 16 thou. So another thing I like to do on big power cars, it doesn't really matter on full Volcom cars and small turbo cars, but a big power cars, what I like to do is what's called spark plug indexing. So what I'll do is I'll basically you just torque it. You can go, you know, play with the torque like 5-6 foot-pounds. You can't go too much on an aluminum head. You know, you don't want to pull the threads. But we're basically what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to make sure all of them face the intake valves. Okay? I'm trying to make sure all of them face the intake valves where the fuel's being sprayed at. So it can burn, like as the fuel's being sprayed, it can burn there. If it's facing the exhaust valve, it's still gonna work, but it's not gonna be as efficient of a burn. You get what I mean? So it has to face the intake valves. It has to face the injectors pretty much. So how you can tell, because you know it's a hex socket for the spark plug, you can't really tell by the naked eye. So what I do is I'll take the spark plug over here where the gap is, and what I'll do is I'll actually mark it with a Sharpie. You can see I did this in the past. I mark it with a Sharpie so I know exactly where the gap is. Then I tighten it until this gap is facing the intake manifold. So it's a good practice.
So right now Ronnie's trying to make the fuel feed line fit because the Magnus intake is so large it doesn't clear.
So the way where it places the throttle body doesn't really work. So we would have to like bend this a little outwards, but I can't do that because it's a very what do you call it, stiff line. I don't want to call it that. And we're so tired right now. I had a full day at work.
Yeah.
And I think we're just gonna call it quits. The one that has a boost reference, okay, this goes to the compressor cover, okay. Also, we get a T from there, and we run that to the top of the wastegate. So this goes here. So what it's doing essentially is it's putting pressure on top of the wastegate, because this other one is just for wastegate reference, okay? So when the valve, let's say this is, you know, there's 27 psi springs in there, right?
Yeah.
At 27 psi, I'm just giving you an example. It would actually be a lot less. It would be like, there's probably like a 7 or 8 psi spring in there because I'm using a 4-port.
Yep.
So when this thing basically wants to start lifting, right? Because all the wastegate is a valve.
Yes.
So if you put pressure on the bottom portion of the valve, it'll lift it, okay? So if you put pressure on top of the valve, it'll actually fight that. So it'll increase the boost even more. So that's why you see some wastegates have 2 ports, one on top, one on the bottom.
Yeah.
The one on top is just to put extra pressure on the actual gate and not let it open up. That's how you can run that much boost. And then, like this is a very common trick with like front wheel drive Hondas and shit. So you can run, you know, 8-10 pounds in the first gear and like 40-50 pounds by 5th gear. You know what I mean?
So Ronnie's pretty much done with the progress for today. We're both extremely tired. He's like been working all day, as you guys could imagine, and only works on his car in his free time. Right now we're about to do something very scary. I'm gonna run a compression test with my boy David in there, and we're gonna find out if the Evo is a complete bucket or not. My boy David's about to break my heart and tell me I have low compression. Alright, so the plugs are out. We're getting ready to see if my motor is complete caca or not. We're gonna find out. We just tested cylinder 1. It tested 155. This is so scary. You guys have no idea. Yeah. So 155 across the board with all the cylinders. Thank you, David, for peer pressuring me into this random test at basically midnight.
Hey man, the motor's healthy.
With the 155 for all the cylinders, according to the Mitsu handbook, what was it, David?
For Evo 8s and 9s, Mitsubishi considers a rebuild at 95. That's when absolutely you have to get a rebuild. In the performance world, probably wouldn't wait to 95.
You'll wait till like 120, 130.
Yeah, I'd say 120, 130 is pretty low.
Yeah.
Definitely get it rebuilt.
Help today.
Yeah, no worries,
Peace out, dude. I want to ride in your Evo soon.
For sure.
We'll film a video with it. Peace out, Mr. Ronnie. Thank you again for another educating night of getting out at, what time is it right now?
Welcome here, bro.
I'm always here, man. I don't even work here and I still leave at midnight with you guys.
This is our life, unfortunately. We
Okay.
get here at like fucking 10 o'clock, we leave at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's fun sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes. I'm just honestly so happy that my car tested 155 across all 4 cylinders. Sometimes you have inconsistency, which could be the rings or something else. I forgot. I'm like half asleep right now. Forgive me. I'm just really happy for my buddy Ronnie. The build's slowly coming together, and the Ronnie built engine building series, at least for his motor, is slowly coming to an end. The next video is going to be Dyno Day, which is going to be the next video. You guys will see me when I go back to 5150. I hope you guys have been enjoying these Evo building series. I know you guys wanted the longer videos, so I try to keep or retain as much of the information as I possibly could for this video specifically. If you guys enjoyed the Evo building series, be sure to give this video a fat thumbs up. There's going to be more. We're going to do one with a 4B11 in the future, indefinitely. Then obviously there's a lot of stuff coming from my car too. I just got to get the funds together and pull the trigger on a couple things, but I'm going to get you guys a pretty big one soon for my car, so be on the lookout for that. As always, be sure to follow me on social media for any other updates. I'm always posting like behind the scenes stuff for the videos on my Instagram and Snapchat. And I'll see you guys all on the next video. Happy holidays to all you guys' friends and family. I will see you